do, they need to do to be successful. And as their abilities increase, as their confidence increases, you teach them more and more about the business, the gears, the gas, clutch, brake, all that kind of stuff. And then you step aside, right? And you let them go. But with you right here, you're here to help. You're here to coach them and make them as effective and as efficient as possible. And then when you're comfortable that they can do it on their own, you hop off, you go do some other work that needs to be done, and you let them go, knowing that if anything goes terribly wrong, they can come and get your help, right? Very similar. I thought that was kind of interesting. Now, as I got better at driving the tractor, we graduated. We graduated up to the pickup. Now, pickup's an interesting beast. It's a little harder to drive than a tractor because you're in a corral. My dad was on the top of that, throwing the bales into the manger for the cows. Okay? Guess I don't need this, do I? And I was a little guy in the cab, you know, lifting my head up so I could see over the, kind of like Mary drives, over the dash, but under the steering wheel, right? And so the tricky part about driving a pickup was my dad would back it. Number one, it's really heavy with all that hay, so he'd back it down into the corral along the manger. He'd climb up on back, and he'd, you know, tell us, okay, I'm ready. And so you're hanging onto the steering wheel, you slide up on the seat, you kind of wedge your bum against the seat, and you push down the clutch, and you put it in first, right? Now, here's the really, really tricky part. You have to give it enough gas that you're not going to kill the engine when you let the clutch out. But you got to give it not so much gas that when you do let the clutch out, you take off like you're in the Indy 500. And I will say there was a couple of moments where my dad was suspended in midair about 8 feet above 2 feet of wet manure, and all went well until gravity kicked in, and it wasn't so good, okay? But we, again, every morning and every night we did this. We improved. We even got to the point where you were not scraping against the manger every time, and then far, far away, my dad's doing the shot put on these bales, trying to get him in. Closer, closer, you get closer. Farther away, you drive farther away. We'd actually drive straight, okay? But you improve. So remember, it's very important to remember you're not going to be perfect at first. That's one thing I tell my kids. It's so hard for them because they don't get a lot of repetition like I had when I was little. They think they should be good at whatever they do right away, and if they're not, they're like, they're done, okay? You're not going to be perfect at first. You have to work at it and work at it and work at it. And as you work at it, you get better. Practice equals improvement. And we graduated at age 11 to the swather. Now, this is 14 feet wide, cuts hay, obviously. My dad had a brilliant idea about this point. You know, I only have so much hay, and there's all these neighbors have other hay, so when you're done doing mine, I'll rent you out to the other farmers. They can hire you to go do theirs. Two bad things. Number one, driving in a field is a lot easier than driving on a road. And roads actually aren't that bad unless there's a car coming the other way. Then you're trying to miss the car and not take out too many reflector signs along the side of the road. So the other thing, though, that was kind of cool to me was we would show up to a neighbor's farm, and invariably he'd come out and he'd look at the spunk kid in the swather and he's like, "Where's your dad?" I don't know, he's working over here. Was he coming? Nope, he's not. Okay? So then he gets this really worried look on his face. Luckily, this was the days before cell phones, so to see my dad, he'd have to drive 20 miles and then try and find him. So generally, they would hop on the swather and they'd ride around a couple of times with us till they were comfortable, we knew what we were doing, and they'd jump off and leave us our own. And so this is kind of the time when you're like, okay, maybe I can do this, maybe I know what I'm doing. We actually felt useful here. And then at age 13, we graduated to the four-wheel drive tractors, the full-size combines, the semis, and we drove those. And if you want to be scared, try driving a semi past the local sheriff's house, okay? I'm standing up on the seat trying to look way older than 13. But again, as you can probably tell from my story, my dad really never thought there was something we couldn't do. He never thought we were too young to learn. He never thought we were too young to develop. And even though some of his friends would say, you know, what are you thinking, having all these kids, drive all these big machines and do all this stuff? And my dad's saying was, well, somebody's got to do it. His day was full, and somebody did have to do it. And if you really think about life, those are very true words. Somebody does have to do it, right? And there's no reason why it can't be us. You see, I also believe that each one of us has way more capability and ability than we think we do. We can do far more than we think we can. I love the video. Remember the Titans? Boy said, what, 20, 30 yards. That's what he thought he could do? He went 100. We have far more ability inside of us than we think we have. We just have to harness that and then drive as hard and as far as we think we can go. And you've heard some stories today from people who have done just that. But they're not extraordinary people. They're people, ordinary people who have done extraordinary things, and I dare say everybody in this room is extraordinary. You just have to believe in yourself and go. I love this saying because I think it fits each one of us. Unless a man undertakes more than he can possibly do, he will never do all he can. All right? Now most of us think what? I can't do that, right? I can't. You have to take on more than you think you can do to stretch and grow and develop. Now, my dad was a man of sayings. You heard, well, somebody's got to do it. That was one of many, trust me. Another one that he would say when all these boys came to him saying, we can't do whatever, was can't's a sluggard. I still don't know what a sluggard is, but I learned really, really young that can't is not an excuse for not getting something done. All right? His other favorite saying was, you have to be smarter than the average, and he would insert whatever word was relevant to the situation. So if I came and said, I can't get the tractor hooked up, well, you got to be smarter than the average tractor. Okay? And you're like, I can't get this bolt off. Well, you have to be smarter than the average bolt. Well, there again, that's not very hard, is it? Okay? One of my favorites was because we had, again, 500 cows. There's always a reason you have to go to Dad and say, I can't get the milkers on the cow, or can't feed the calves. And my dad, got to be smarter than the average cow. Well, who doesn't want to be smarter than the average cow? Right? Okay. So, what he was teaching a bunch of kids was that you have to try and try and try until you've accomplished everything that's within your power before you come to him, who's busy doing other things, right? And tell him I can't do something. Now, by doing that, he taught us that we actually can do most things. Okay? You just have to try hard enough and long enough and be creative enough to get the problem solved. If I can't get a bolt off, I probably need a pipe on the end of the wrench and I can probably get it off. Okay? If I can't do something else, if I work long enough and hard enough and creatively enough at it, I can get it done. That's what he was teaching the kids. He wasn't trying to be mean or cruel. He was teaching us, okay, to have a little bit inside and never give up. And as I think of that principle, that when you run into a wall, you don't stop, because no progress is made if you stop. You keep pushing and pushing and pushing. You go up, over, around. Somehow you get through, right? Okay, and that is what my dad was teaching us. And when I look at, because of my career, because of what I do, I get to talk to a lot of distributors, and they usually call because they have a problem, right? An issue. And I am able to talk to them and help them keep pushing, keep driving, keep working long enough to be successful. And so when I think back at all of the distributors that have been able to accomplish great, great things with a little bit of my help and a lot of their determination and drive, it makes me very grateful and made me understand that my dad, as humble as he is, has blessed literally hundreds of thousands of lives. One guy farming in Louisiana has blessed hundreds of thousands of people all around the world. He'll never know that. He'll never know that. Sorry. When we started Xyngular, we knew who we were going to be. We knew what we wanted to do. And we knew that we wanted to accomplish that with good people. We didn't want top income earners and industry leaders from other companies. We wanted good, ethical people who wanted to change their life, wanted to improve, wanted to help other people change and improve their life also. And we knew that if we gave them, we armed them with the power of products that made a difference in people's lives. And we gave them a comp plan that was built to facilitate success, not stop you, not slow you down, not artificial hurdles and roadblocks in the way, but let you run. We knew that you could do great, great things. And that's the whole idea behind Xyngular. It's the whole idea behind our products. Products that make differences in lives. We've heard it over and over and over last night, today, and every day that you get on the internet, right? You hear the stories of products that change lives. The compensation plan, everything from the rapid rewards, everything is built to benefit you and to allow you to do whatever you want. Cal's going to buy an island. That's great. Okay? I want all of you to buy islands. I don't want to hear about second cars and vacation houses. I want islands, okay? Because then your dreams are big, right? And if you have big dreams, what are you going to do? You're going to do big things. You're going to do great things. You have to dream, put the little pieces in place, and then go accomplish them. Go get them done, and you'll do it. And with Xyngular, we're going to pay you all along the way. You want to make more money? Develop more leaders on your front line. It'll pay you more money in the rapid rewards. It'll pay you more money on the unit level. It'll pay you more money in the sales pools. It'll pay you, well, take you more places on the passport program. If you want more than that, build another leader. If you want more than that, build another leader. There will literally be people making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month with Xyngular in the